We're going to start working with Illustrator now, and we are going to do a tutorial on how this unhappy bird was created. So let me go ahead and open up Illustrator. You can see we already have it going. Over here, we have our layers palette, and just like Photoshop, you do have your layers. However, the layers exist in different patches of color. So it's almost like a construction paper that you're cutting out the parts. You're creating the parts, you're cutting them out, and you're pasting them in. Let's get started. First of all, let's go ahead and close this one out, and let's start a whole new one from scratch. So I have my cheat sheet here to read off of. If you hear the pages flipping, that's what that is. Let's go to File and New. Once we're in there, we want to make sure that our units are in inches and that we are working with a width of 6 inches and a height of 6 inches. So if it's not already there, go ahead and make that change yourself, and we'll click OK. Now we have our canvas to work with. Let's start with the ellipse tool. So if you go over here, whatever tool you currently have running, click and hold, and we want the ellipse tool. We're going to go up here, and in the written directions it says no fill, but you can go ahead and choose white, and that's fine. And over here, this is the stroke, which is the outer outline. We're going to go with black, and let's leave it at 1 point right now, which is what I have. Now we're going to click and drag. So let's go down and over, and instead of making a perfect circle, let's make a sort of a more of an egg type shape, something like that. Now we're going to go over to the direct selection tool, which is the white arrow right here. And you'll see there's a sub menu. You don't want the one with the plus, you want the regular one. Direct selection tool, white arrow. So we could see the path is already selected because you have these little squares going up here. But if it's not selected, go ahead and click on it anyway. That'll activate it. And then if you come over here and you click on this anchor, you're going to see these little handles come up. And what that allows you to do is it allows you to kind of further distort the shape. So I'm going to play around with these, remembering that we're kind of making a bird. Maybe make a little belly pop out like that a little bit. So a little bit of an odd shape. You can also play around with these handles if you want to. I encourage you to try different things out. I think I'm pretty good there. I'm liking what I have. So let's go back. Actually, over here, if we open up the palette of layers, and I click this little arrow, we'll leave that open so you could see how every time we do something, it adds its own layer. So now we're over here at the ellipse tool, and we are going to create a horizontal ellipse. So click and drag just like this. Now we're going to go over to here and get the selection tool, which is the black arrow, and we're going to duplicate the ellipse. So how that is done is you hold down Alt and you click and drag down, you'll get a duplicate. Now we have 2 of these. All right, let's go ahead and arrange the arrows like this. Now you'll see that one path is on top of another right here. So if we take this and we put it here, and then we kind of go to the corner, you get that little curve. We can go ahead and tilt it and reposition it. What we're trying to do is the feathers, the top feathers in the head, looks something like this and this is what we're making right now. Maybe make it a little bit bigger if you want to. Maybe make it a little bit wider on this one. Let's go ahead and take this one, put it down. I actually like it smaller like that. And yeah, I like it. Let's leave it just like that. All right. Now we're going to get a tool called the Pathfinder. So we need to go over to Window, and then if we go down, we go to Pathfinder. You'll see it's the same as Shift, Control, F9. But for me, it's easier to just hit Pathfinder. Now all of a sudden, this tool palette comes up. Now, just to make sure we're on the black arrow, let's draw a marquee around this whole thing and just make sure everything is selected. And if you look over here, you'll see these little blue squares, meaning all of those different layers are now selected. Let's go to the shape mode tool right here, and we're going to use the Unite button. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to click on that. And now watch what happens to the lines here. See how it cuts it all out? And then you'll see this all, because we united this, all these different layers became one. All right, this next one's got a few steps on it. So again, making sure the path is selected. We've got everything all selected right here. We're going to copy, but we're going to copy in place. So very simply on the keyboard, Command C. Now we've copied it. Now we need to paste it, but we want to paste in the front. So instead of Control V, don't do that. Don't do Control V. Do Control F. And you'll see we just added another path, same thing, but it's pasted it on top. So here's the new one, here's the old one right here. Okay. Now, actually, I should have turned off the stroke. So we're going to do that. You know what we could do is let's just go ahead. We're on this one particular path. Let's go ahead and turn the stroke off. So we're going to click there and none for that one. So the one underneath has the stroke, the one on top does not. So we're on that one right now. Great. Okay, so again, with this top layer selected, we're going to go to the palette of color, and we're going to make this path red. So let's go ahead and not the stroke, but the fill right here. We're going to go ahead and make that red. If you want to pick a different color, that's fine when you make your original. I have no problem with that. Do whatever color you want. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and deselect this. So click elsewhere, just like that. I did have to click twice, but now nothing is selected. And we're going to select the ellipse tool. And again, double checking to make sure there's no stroke on here. We're going to go ahead and pick out a tan color. I'll pick this light tan right here. So again, the ellipse tool, we changed the color. I'm picking tan. We're going to make a colored belly right here. So I'm going to go ahead and create an ellipse just like this. Let's make it a little bit oblong like that. There we go. And now we're going to use this, we're going to use the move tool right here, the selection tool, and slide it over. And on purpose, we're going to have it overlap a little bit right here because I'm going to teach you how to trim that off in a minute. I'm actually going to reshape this a little bit. There we go. Now, we're going to select the top layers here, these two top layers, not this one down on the bottom. And we can do that by holding Shift down, and there we go. Click on this side so you have the little blue squares right there. So everything is selected, but not this bottom one. All right. Now, we go over to the Pathfinder, and this is called the Divide tool. Now, watch what happens here when I hit the Divide tool. Click it, and then if we go down like this, you'll see that that little slice of belly that's not part of the whole thing gets kind of pushed away. It's like a separate thing. See, I can turn it on and off actually. It's a separate piece right now. Okay, so we've got the palette open right here, and we're gonna select the layer that has that little slice on it. So we're gonna just click it over here, and that's the only one with the little blue square. This is saying that the whole group has something selected in it, but this is the square we're looking at right here. And you could also see that just that little area is highlighted, right? Now, let's go ahead and drag this down to the trash. And see, so it works like a trimming or eraser or a slice tool, but you can't erase because this is all vectors. It's all solid pieces of line and solid shapes. I don't know if you guys ever did color forms growing up, but it's the same idea. You're pasting color forms in place, but you're making your own color form. All right, let's create some eyes. So the first thing we're going to do is get the ellipse tool again, and we're going to make sure that we have a white fill, just like that, and we're going to make sure that we have a black stroke, and we're leaving the points of the stroke at 1 point right now. So let's go ahead and create a circle. The way we do that is with the ellipse tool. If you hold down shift, it'll maintain the shape. If I let go of shift, you get that, but if I hold it, it maintains the shape. All right, so if I went ahead and I moved this, you'd see that it's got white inside of it, right there. Actually, let's go ahead and just put it right into position here, right about there. This is going to be up to you where to put it, but, make it look good. Do something reasonable. Now, we're going to duplicate this, or hold down Alt and click it and drag it just like that. We instantly copy it. But let's go ahead and shrink that a little bit. Holding down Shift, let's grab the corner, make that one a little smaller because it gives it a cartoony kind of silly, goofy look. And let's not have them completely overlap. I'm using my my move tool here. There we go. Again, we're on the selection tool. I keep calling it the move tool because of Photoshop, but I think you guys get it. All right, so we've duplicated the eye. Now, we'll make pupils by simply keeping the black stroke and going to black fill, and then we're going to get the ellipse tool again. Let's make ourselves, hold down shift, let's make a little tiny pupil like that. Go back to selection tool, zoom in a little bit, and move that one into place. Let's copy that, Alt, click and drag. Got two. You could arrange them any way you want. I'm going to put mine a little closer to each other just to kind of give it, again, a little bit of a silly look to it. All right. Got that made. Now, time for some eyebrows. So again, we're on the black fill and we're on the black stroke. Let's find the rectangle tool. Here's the ellipse tool. If we click and hold, there it is, rectangle. Let's go ahead and make a rectangle like this. And let's reshape it. So let's go to this tool, the direct selection tool. If we select it, and then we go to one of these little anchor points and click on that, now it's activated. You can click it and change different types of, do different shapes with it. Let's keep it simple. We'll go like that. It might be too big, so maybe we'll shrink it down a little bit. So let's go ahead and select it with this tool, the selection tool, and maybe push it a little bit that way. Great. We'll put it into position, and we can go ahead and make got to make sure you have the little curved arrows, and we can go ahead and do a tilt just like that. I think we're good. We want it angled like this because he's unhappy. You could do happy ones if you want to, but this is what I'm doing. Let's go ahead and click this, hold down Alt, and then click again and drag. And now let's simply, got to get that corner. Let's just rotate it like that. See how that looks. That's pretty cool. It's a little long over here. So let's go over here to the direct select tool. Click on it. Click on one of the anchor points. Click on it. Click an anchor point and then click again. Skipped a little step. Let's drag that to here and let's drag this one to here. I think I'm going to have it actually stick out a little bit extra. Just a little pop out like that. There we go. That looks good. All right. Now, got the eyebrows in position. We're going to go ahead and make a beak now. We're using the pen tool for this. Let's go ahead and click that. And let's pick a color. I'm going to do this bright yellow for the top part of the beak. Now, the pen tool's tricky. We're going to click 3 times. We're going to click once, and then we're going to click again, but we're going to hold. So we're going to click right here. Click here. There we go. Click here, and then hold and drag on the second one. Lift. Bring it to here. Click and drag a little bit. And this is how you get that. You can get a curve going with it. Now bring it back to where you started to complete. And there's your beak. You can go back in, grab the handle. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Gonna delete that out. Control Z. Go. Get this. If we click on it, this. Again, there we go. We can just go ahead and manipulate things around. If we click, there we go. And then you can move the handles around. If you want it more pointy, like this. There we go. It's tricky. You just have to play with it. You could see I had to do that. Let's go ahead and we're back up on the selection tool. Let's move it into place. That. And then let's go ahead and make another one, but let's do it a little bit darker. Let's pick this color, a little bit darker. And again, back to the pen tool. We're going to go 1, click and drag, 2, click and drag, and then bring that one to here. And then click right there and actually add an anchor point and then drag it down. Add the drag, add the point, go back here, drag it down, this, and maybe put a little bit of a curve like that. And then overall, I think I want the whole thing a little bit smaller. Let's go ahead and shrink it a little bit. And now put that into place. And let's rotate it. Okay, a little different than I did in the original, but the beauty of doing the whole cartoon type stuff. Let's put a little shadow behind the eye right here. Let's go and go back to the ellipse tool. And I'm going to pick up brown right there. Holding down shift, I'm going to make a circle a little bit bigger than the eyeball itself. A little bit bigger. Place it over the eye like this. And then right now you can see the little blue dot says I'm on this path, which is the circle. I'm going to click it and drag it down so it's below the eyes. So if I drag it all the way to here, it'll drop behind that. And again, we can go ahead and reposition that if we want to. Good. Actually, I think I'm going to make it a little darker. Let's go here and make it more like that. So more like a shadow behind the eye. And hold down, select it, hold down Alt, click and drag. Bring another one here. And let's make that a little bit smaller. wrong path. Here we go. Move it a little bit, just like that. So now we have two shadows. Let's take this shadow and copy it. Bring one here and bring one here. Let's shrink those down. And this can be the spots. If you want to change the color, you know how to do that now. Just go up here and change it, as long as you have it selected. I'm going to leave mine just like that. There's the spots. Now, if you ever get a chance to see my slideshow demo, I put a shadow here and up here and up here. And it's more of an option. Sometimes it looks good, sometimes it doesn't. I use the pen tool, and quite frankly, it's a little bit of a pain. So to keep the video shorter, I'm going to skip over that and go straight to the tail feathers. So the tail feathers, we can either get the pen tool, the rectangle tool and make fresh ones, or let's do this. Let's take the eyebrow and let's copy that right down here and make 3 of them, just like that. Let's put one right here and let's rotate it, just like that, and maybe make it a little bit bigger, a little bit wider. Now let's take this one, go here to the direct selection tool, click on one of the anchors, and really kind of distort it out and move that into place. Maybe give that a little bit of an angle. And there we go. And let's do the same with this one. Let's pitch the angle. And I think I'm going to just make this one a little bit wider and put it like that. Pop it down a little more of an angle, just so there's like a little gap at the end. Gotta find it, so it's gotta be pitched. There we go. Okay, so let's select all 3 of these like this, and you can see they're right here. So I'm gonna hold this one, hold down Shift, them all selected, and I just want to drag it to the very bottom so it's behind everything, just like that. And this way they tuck behind. And there we have it. Here's our finished product. Now, let me show you how to save. So we go File. We should have been saving all along, but that's fine. We're going to do a regular save, and then it's going to save it as an Illustrator. We're going to call this Bird 2 because I already did a bird. And save. So now it's an Illustrator. All this should be set. Just hit OK. Now, we need one more thing to do. We need to save it as a JPEG so that we can post it on the Google Classroom. So instead of going to save, you're going to go to Export, and then you have a choice down here of all the things you could do. Choose JPEG. You can keep the bird. I guess you would call yours Bird or Bird01. We're going to do it like this, and we would hit Save. If I can. There we go. All this comes up. Just make sure that you've got the quality cranked all the way. CMYK is fine. You can switch it to RGB if you want. Again, very little difference that I've found. And everything else should be great. We're going to hit OK. And that should bring it to a JPEG for you. Oh, make sure you know where the path is, by the way. Make sure you know where you're saving it to so you could find it next time. All right, so this is a little bit different than the one I did in my practice. The beak's a little different, but that's good. It should come out a little different each time. I want everybody to create 5 of these because we're eventually going to be using these for our animations, and we're going to need different characters. So create 5 different birds, make them or whatever character they're going to be, and make them different colors. And yep, that's it for now. Great. Good luck, guys.